Hey, I'm Jessica, 28 years old, and I've just been through a whirlwind of emotions. Let me tell you about a day that was supposed to be filled with joy, but turned into one of the most shocking moments of my life. It was a sunny afternoon, and our living room was buzzing with excitement. Family and friends had gathered, eagerly waiting for Tom and me to share some big news. The air was filled with laughter, the decorations swaying gently in the breeze coming through the open windows. So everyone, Tom began, grinning widely with his arm wrapped around me. We're thrilled to announce that we're expecting a boy. Cheers erupted, glasses clinked, and warm congratulations surrounded us. I couldn't stop smiling, my hand resting on my belly as I felt a soft kick, almost as if our little one knew the celebration was for him. But suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. Across the room, I noticed Ryan, Tom's brother, stiffen. His usually calm face was twisted in anger, his fists clenched at his sides. "Why does it have to be a boy?" Ryan muttered, just loud enough for those nearby, including me, to hear. "Ryan, what's wrong?" I asked with a nervous chuckle, trying to brush off the tension. "It's just a baby, our baby." "Just a baby?" Ryan snapped, stepping closer, his voice rising. "That boy will get everything, won't he? The business, the money, all of it." Tom stepped forward, his protective instincts kicking in. "Calm down, Ryan. You're not making sense. He's just a baby, our first joy." But Ryan wasn't listening. His eyes, dark with fury, were locked on me. "No, I won't let that happen." Before anyone could react, Ryan lunged. The room gasped as his hand struck my belly. Pain shot through me, not from the force, but from the shock. I stumbled back into Tom's arms, disbelief washing over me as chaos erupted. "What are you doing?" Tom roared, holding me steady. "Are you insane?" Ryan stood there, breathing heavily, his hands still raised. The realization of what he'd done seemed to dawn on him as the room's expressions shifted from shock to disgust. I couldn't speak, the sting of the hit still lingering, and fear for my baby overwhelming me. I need to go to the hospital," I finally managed to whisper. Tom nodded, his face grim. "We're leaving now." As he guided me out, the last thing I saw was Ryan being held back by two uncles, his face a twisted mix of anger and regret. The ride to the hospital felt like the longest of my life, every second filled with worry until the doctors reassured us that the baby was fine. But something inside me had changed. The attack wasn't just a betrayal, it was a wake-up call. Sitting in a sterile hospital room, the joy of our announcement tainted by violence, Tom and I knew things would never be the same. Ryan had crossed a line that couldn't be ignored, not by us, not by the law. Once the doctor confirmed our child was unharmed, she warned me to be cautious, reminding me that things might not always go smoothly. As Tom and I sat in the hospital corridor, he gently squeezed my hand. "Are you sure you're okay to talk about this now?" "We can wait," Tom asked, his voice soft. "I need to do this now, Tom, before I lose my nerve," I replied, my voice shaking. "What if next time the baby isn't okay?" He nodded, his face set in determination. "I'm with you, whatever you need." Taking a deep breath, I pulled out my phone and dialed the non-emergency number for the local police. After a few rings, the dispatcher answered. "Police department, how can I help you?" "I need to report an assault," I said, my voice steadier than I expected. "It happened about an hour ago at my home, during a family event." "Are you in a safe location now?" she asked. "Yes, I'm at the hospital. My brother-in-law hit me. I'm pregnant, he knew." "Understood. We're sending an officer to take your statement. Can you provide the hospital's address?" After I gave the details, I hung up, feeling the weight of the situation settle in. "It was real now," reported. "Official." "We'll need a restraining order too," Tom said, already scrolling through his phone for legal advice. "I don't want Ryan anywhere near you or the baby." "I can't believe he'd go this far over inheritance issues," I whispered, shaking my head. Tom's voice softened as he replied. "He's lost it, Jess. We've all seen him get heated over money talks, but this," Tom's voice trails off, his anger palpable as we sit in a quiet hospital hallway. Just then, a young, empathetic-looking officer arrives. She introduces herself, notebook in hand. "I'm Officer Martinez. I'm here to take your statement. Can you tell me exactly what happened?" As I recount the events, Officer Martinez listens carefully, her pen moving rapidly across the paper. Tom interjects a few times, his voice taut with barely controlled anger. When I'm done, she closes her notebook and gives a firm nod. We'll handle it from here. We may need you to come in to provide more details or formally identify him if this goes to court. Thank you, officer. We appreciate it, Tom says. Once she's gone, we make our way to another part of the hospital to file for a temporary restraining order. The process is coldly bureaucratic, with forms and signatures, a stark contrast to the emotional turmoil still swirling inside me. When this is filed, he'll be served by tomorrow, the clerk explains. He won't be able to come near you or contact you. Walking back to the car, the air feels heavier, as if every step pulls us both further from safety and deeper into a new, uncertain reality. You think he'll fight it? I murmur, watching the sunset bleed into a bruised purple horizon. He might, Tom replies, squeezing my hand. But we'll be ready. We have to protect our little guy. As we drive home, the silence between us isn't empty. It's weighted with the enormity of the decisions we've made. It feels like the first steps in a battle we never wanted to fight. Tom reaches over and squeezes my hand again. In that moment, I feel not just my own strength, but ours together. The next morning, Aunt Linda calls, inviting me for coffee. Her face is a mix of concern and weariness when I arrive. Can't you just let it go for the family's sake? She pleads, her voice low. It was a one-time thing, Jess. He didn't mean it. I take a deep breath, fighting the lump rising in my throat. This wasn't just some minor slip-up, Linda. He attacked me while I was pregnant. What if he does it again? What if next time the baby isn't okay? But he's family. Family sticks together, right? Her eyes are wide, pleading for peace. Sticking together doesn't mean ignoring abuse. As the case progresses, the divide within the family grows. Uncle Joe calls to voice his support. You're doing the right thing, Jess. What Ryan did is inexcusable. It's just hard, I admit, to be the one stirring things up. You're not stirring things up, Uncle Joe insists. You're standing up for yourself. Remember that. Meetings with lawyers and endless paperwork take over our lives. Mr. Evans, our lawyer, is a no-nonsense man who quickly gets to the heart of the matter. They'll probably try to paint Ryan as a victim of temporary anger, so be prepared. How you respond in court will be crucial. Will they drag my past into this? I ask, anxiety twisting in my gut. Try to make me look bad. It's possible, Mr. Evans replies, but stick to the facts. The truth of your experience is your strongest weapon. Your calm, clear recollection will speak volumes. The day of the trial arrives and the courtroom feels suffocating. Ryan sits across from me, looking composed, but the sight of him still sends a chill down my spine. When I take a stand, the prosecutor begins. Can you tell us what happened on the day in question? I recount the events, my voice steady despite the emotional turmoil churning inside. As I speak, the murmurs from the courtroom fade into the background, and I focus on the gravity of telling my story. Isn't it true that your family has a history of disputes over inheritance? Ryan's lawyer interjects during cross-examination, trying to shift the narrative. Yes, but that doesn't justify violence. Not against a pregnant woman, or anyone, for that matter. Thank you, Jessica. No further questions. Outside the courtroom, the reaction is swift. Social media is buzzing. Some comments offer support. Stay strong, Jess. We're with you. While others are critical, family matters should have stayed private. Local news outlets pick up the story. Reporters mill around the courthouse. And though I hesitate, I choose to speak. This isn't just about me. It's about standing up against violence, even when it comes from someone in your own family. As the trial continues, Ryan's defense weakens. The evidence is clear, and the testimony from witnesses, combined with the community's growing support, feels like a lifeline. Through it all, Tom is by my side, his hand gripping mine as we wait for the jury's verdict. The tension hangs over us like a storm cloud, but inside, a fire builds, a mix of fear, anger, and a fierce hope for justice. All rise, the bailiff's voice echoes through the courtroom as the judge re-enters. The moment of truth hovers like a dense fog. Everyone settles into their seats, the tension thick in the air. The judge's gaze sweeps over the room, finally resting on me before turning to address the court. Defendant Ryan, will you please stand? He rises, his demeanor uncertain, a stark contrast to the arrogance he'd displayed before. The judge continues, her voice steady and firm. Having reviewed the case and the evidence presented, I find you guilty of assault. This court sentences you to 3 years of probation and mandatory anger management therapy. You are also subject to a permanent restraining order prohibiting any contact with Jessica. A collective breath is released in the courtroom. Some in satisfaction, others in disbelief. Aunt Linda sits, shaking her head, still torn between familial loyalty and the reality of what had happened. Thank you, Your Honor, for ensuring justice was served today. I managed to say, my voice firm yet filled with emotion. The gavel bangs, signaling the end of the session. Ryan is led away, his head bowed, while the family remains divided, some nodding in agreement, others still wrestling with the outcome. Outside, Tom and I hold each other for a moment, the fresh air feeling like a small taste of freedom. We did it, Jess. It's over. How are you feeling? Tom asks softly, his hand gently resting on my back. It's a relief, Tom, but it's also sad. It's not just about winning the case. It's everything we've been through. The family's been torn apart. Yeah, but we stood up for what's right, for our family, for our son. They'll grow up knowing that. As we walk toward the car, I glance back at the courthouse. Its stoic brick walls stand as silent witnesses to our turmoil. Later, at home, we sit together with cups of tea, the baby kicking softly as if he too senses the shift. Tom reaches into a bag and pulls out a tiny blue baby jumper, a light moment amidst the heaviness. Got this for our little champ, Tom says with a smile. He's going to need it, growing up so loved and protected. He really is, isn't he? Protected. Loved. And maybe that's what matters most in all of this. We've given him a safer, healthier start. Yeah, Tom agrees. And we've learned a lot too, about boundaries, about standing up for ourselves. As evening turns into night, I reflect on the past few months, the legal battles, the strain within the family, the moments I doubted whether taking a stand was worth it. Tom breaks the silence, his voice filled with quiet hope. You think things will ever get back to normal with your family? I pause, thinking it over. Maybe not the old normal, but we'll find a new way forward. Some bridges were burned, but maybe they needed to be to protect our future. We'll build better ones for him, I say, nodding toward my belly. And for us. As we prepare for bed, the weight of the trial begins to lift. There's a sense of closure, but also the resolve that this is not just an ending. It's the beginning of a new chapter for our family. The scars from this ordeal will heal with time, and the strength we've gained will guide us as we navigate life together. Good night, Jess. Love you. Love you too, Tom. And thank you for everything. As I drift off to sleep, the challenges of the past blend with the hopes of the future. Tomorrow will be about moving forward, about joy and anticipation for the new life we're about to welcome. The lessons learned, the strength built, and the love we share will guide us as we build our family, fortified by the trials we've endured. Now, I want to ask you, do you think pursuing legal action against family members is justified in situations like this, even if it might lead to permanent family rifts? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the story and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Your support helps us keep bringing these stories to life.